Hello, YouTube. It's your boy Shnobbs. Sorry it's been a while. Just been, enjoying myself lately and taking a little break. And here's this new countdown video. This will be my first ever collab on this channel. And please, be easy on this person. This is his first time. And I hope you enjoy the video.
Worked. I just realized there is a cluster of animated Disney films that fell on the wayside that never went into fruition. It's Disney time once again. Today's countdown will be the top 10 more canceled animated Disney films. But I have a special guest today helping me narrate this new list. Introducing Nostalgia Boy. Well, let's not waste any more time and let's begin the video.
Hiawatha is an unproduced Disney animated film that would have been released in 1949. Hiawatha was a follower of the great peacemaker, a prophet and spiritual leader, who proposed the unification of the Iroquois people. This proposed feature was considered to be taken in a similar direction as Fantasia, an artistic but conductory. It would have featured a single storyline. Artwork produced for Hiawatha would serve as inspirational material for Pocahontas in terms of color direction, character design, and scene composition. It was scrapped near the end of 1949 due to the studio's financial situation prior to the success of Cinderella.
Inspector Bones strikes the modern observer as an odd property to be considered for a feature film adaptation at the Disney Studio in 1941. The story seems superficial at best and lacks the emotional depth and appealing characters of Pinocchio, Dumbo, and Bambi. But Inspector Bones never went into production, most likely due to Walt's death and other unspecified reasons. The only thing that was left of the scrap project is a 149-page book full of storyboards priced at $30,000 that was sold and is now probably gone forever. But some of Inspector Bones' concepts were used in the 1986 Disney film The Great Mouse Detective. It's sad this never went to production state. The concept had potential in my opinion.
Chancellor was going to be an animated film based on the French play Chancelier, written by Armand Roslin. It was in development from the 1940s up until the mid-1960s and never saw completion. Though the film was cancelled, its character designs later inspired the 1973 Disney animated film Robin Hood, as well as the animatronics for defunct America Sings attraction in Disneyland. In the early 1940s, after the overall success of Disney's first full-length animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Walt was looking for new material that his animation team could use to adapt for the screen. Chancellor was ultimately an animated project that got shelved due to being much more cheaper to animate humans than animals.
The most fantastic of the uncompleted films was Destino, 1946. A collaboration between Walt Disney and Salvador Dali. It's difficult to conceive of the two less compatible artists. The origins of the project are very unclear. Destino would have been set to Armando Dominguez's ballad about a young woman's search for love. It would have been conceived as a live-action/animated sequence for one of the packaged films. Shortly after the 17-second test was completed, Destino was abandoned for unknown reasons. Not long after Destino was shelved, many of their drawings and storyboards for it was stolen. Some of them were purchased by an art dealer in New York and eventually returned to the studio. But many decades later, we did get a 7-minute Destino short in 2003 that almost had a similar concept to the cancelled animated film.
Scruffy is an adaptation of Paul Glasgow's novel, which centered around the Barbary Askews of Galbraithtu with its honorary leader named Scruffy, and the apes would be threatened by the Nazis party attempt to capture them from the British Empire during World War II. The project was led by Anderson, one of Disney's key designers. When the time had came to greenlit the project, the studio leaders decided to scrap Scruffy in favor of the rescuers. Also, the studio felt Scruffy was considered inspired and derivative.
My Peoples was an animated film that began life in late 1999. It was created by Barry Cook, who had previously co-directed Mulan 1 year earlier. Despite many alterations and retools, the movie had gotten fairly far along into production. However, it was ultimately cancelled in favor of the 2005 film Chicken Little, and to this day, only a handful of production materials from the original project have been released. The film was set to be in 1940s in Acapulco, Texas. In the original concept, it revolved around a young man named Elkin Harpner who falls in love with a woman named Rose McKee. Despite an ongoing feud between their respective families, Elkin, who is known for creating folk art dolls out of common household objects, pursues Rose anyway, and Rose's father attempts to cast a spell to make him forget her. However, the spell actually ends up bringing Elkin's dolls to life, and after one of the dolls, Angel, refuses to help to the couples and leaves, the rest of them have to try and make things work. The film was far enough into production that various story reels, test animations, and music pieces are known to have been completed. Most of these have not yet been released to the public, though, and all currently exist in the animation of the original scenes, and the songs Tender Hearts, a few sections of animation, and several pieces of concept art.
After Disney's death, a crew led by Ralph Wright worked on the Birmingham musicians between September 1968 and November 1970. The movie would have been a musical using rock and roll background music. It was loosely based off the original book. George Dunning and Hans Elderman had demonstrated untapped potential for the movie, or film, whatever you'd like to call it, but was soon cancelled for unspecified reasons.
The story told a tale of a young girl who creates a fantasy world of goblins, fairies, sprites, and an evil Jack Frost. Toots and the Upside Down House was supposed to be another stop-motion animation. Pre-production was expected to begin in June 1996, and production was set for the fall of 1997. Toots and the Upside Down House was Miramax's first major entry into animation, and was projected to carry a price tag shy of the estimated $30 million plus production costs of Walt Disney's Toy Story before it was cancelled. Unfortunately, this is a project that ended up getting killed by Miramax, which was owned by Disney at the time the movie was a thing. They pulled the plug on the project so early on, so we have no idea how this would have looked as a final project.
King of the Elves was a film set to be released by Walt Disney Animation Studios, based on a story by Philip K. Dick. The film was originally set to be directed by Aaron Bless and Robert Walker, and produced by John Lester and Chuck Williams. Originally slated for release in 2012, the film was reportedly shelved in December 2009. In July 2010, however, since Disney had a change of heart, or at least rumor spread like wildfire, it was reported by various sources that King of the Elves is back in development, and it is being directed by Chris Williams, co-director of both. It was once again later reported that the production was doing so well that it revitalized Frozen for a 2013 release date. Production eventually slated due to problems, and director Chris Williams.
Gigantic was a Disney animated musical based on the fairy tale Jack and the Beanstalk. Gigantic would have been set in Spain during the Age of Exploration. It would have followed Jack from the fairy tale as he discovers a world of giants hidden above the clouds. Jack then befriends a female giant named Ema, who is said to be 11 years old, 6 feet tall, fiery, feisty, and a lot of control. It would constantly treat Jack like a doll. Meanwhile, the antagonists of the film, known as the Storm Giants, would have stood at around 120 feet. Gigantic began production in 2013, then under the title Giants, and was announced under the former title at D23 in 2015, then slated for a March 2018 release. The release date was later moved to November 2018, and then again in 2020, until in October 2017, when Disney announced that the film had been shelved because it wasn't working the way they thought. To be honest, I kind of blame Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Frozen 2 to an extent for the cancellation of this film. Then again, maybe Disney was afraid of taking a risk, but who knows what kind of film this would have been.
Hi, any ideas for a spicy countdown? Comment below for ideas. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this that'll be uploaded every other week, every other month, or I don't know. Also, click the little bell button so you don't miss my videos when they are first uploaded. I hope you all enjoy this. Thank you and have a fantastic day.